I came here, wasn't feeling so well. I feel much better now. We're working hard to get me all the way back.
Donald Trump's message was designed to put minds at ease, but it came in the midst of chaos and confusion as doctors and White House officials painted different pictures of the president's condition.
Right now, he is not on oxygen.
I know you keep saying right now, but should we read into the fact that he had been previously?
Yesterday and today, he was not on oxygen.
So he has not been on it during his COVID treatment?
He's not on oxygen right now.
But multiple sources have reported that Trump had, in fact, been on oxygen. And it's not the first time that the president's doctors have been forced into a difficult position.
If elected, Mr. Trump, I can state unequivocally, will be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency.
We ran into Dr. Harold Bornstein, and he told us in no uncertain terms, I didn't write that letter, meaning that Trump dictated what he wanted to go into it.
In this pandemic, the only thing that's spread faster than the virus itself has been misinformation. Doctors are supposed to be above the fray, but when they're sucked into the vortex of politics and spin in the midst of a US election, it creates more distrust, more confusion, and, to use Trump's own words, more fake news. And anticipating what this means for America is impossible when nobody knows what's actually happening. But here's what we do know. Last week, a ceremony for Trump's Supreme Court nominee saw 150 people unmasked and packed in close quarters, and at least 8 attendees have now tested positive.
And it is a very proud moment indeed.
We know that after discovering his advisor Hope Hicks had tested positive, Trump still attended a fundraising event in New Jersey.
It was deemed safe for the president to go.
And we know that more than 200,000 Americans have died from the virus, and that number is set to double before the year is out.
But I'm also doing well, and I think we're going to have a very good result.
Political commentator Michael Williams joins us now from Washington, D.C. Michael, a number of reports suggest Trump is sicker than his doctors are letting on. What can we believe?
Well, look, what can you believe? I have no idea what you can believe. Normally, I like to come on in any show, your show, any show, and say what I know. All I can tell you now is what I have heard. And what you've heard is what I have heard, which is this wild sort of shifting of information from the doctors who are treating the president, who say that he is very well 1 minute and he's not experiencing fever and he hasn't been on oxygen, to other senior aides who are close to the president who say that he has been in a dire condition and he's not out of the woods. And we get confirmations that he has, in fact, been on oxygen. This is what they've been doing for the entire length and breadth of their administration, is sort of mixing truth with public relations. And what you get is a very unreliable mix of information, none of which really, or you don't know which of them, can be classified as facts.
Well, then I probably shouldn't ask you the next question, but I'm going to do it anyway. What do we know about what happened after his advisor, Hope Hicks, tested positive?
Well, what we do know for sure is that after Hope Hicks tested positive, President Trump and a group of his supporters went to a fundraiser in New Jersey on a helicopter and in close quarters, and we're in close quarters without masks, without social distancing, within their own entourage, and again, with those supporters at that event. He has come in contact with hundreds, primary or secondary contact with hundreds, if not thousands, of people. And again, with the idea that public safety is so tantamount to any success that we have going forward economically, sociologically, it's just stunning to think that the president would do that after knowing that he'd been in close contact with a positive test result. But again, welcome to the Trump administration.
Michael, there's been a mix of reactions. Joe Biden and Barack Obama have obviously wished him a speedy recovery, but there's a number of people who feel that this is karmic retribution. Is that fair?
Look, this is a complicated question because, look, there's a part of your humanity that is made up of compassion. And you'd say that you feel for anyone. And you'd want to say that you hope that anyone, and I'm looking at a list of this, down for senators, you have the president, the first lady, 3 senators, you have Hope Hicks, the head of the Republican Party, and on and on and on, this large group of people that we know about who are suffering, including the president, and you don't wish them any ill, and you hope that they have a full recovery. Then on the other side, I'm old enough to remember the AIDS epidemic, and I know that if someone had told me during that time that, hey, I'm going to go out and have unprotected sex every day, and I'm going to share needles for intravenous use every day, but don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it because I'm testing every day. Would I feel bad for that person, or would I feel that that person was obviously flaunting reality and eventually got what certainly was going to happen? And I'll add one more thing with that. On Tuesday, at the end of that debate, President Donald Trump, my president, asked a terrorist group that lives to commit violence on people that look like me to stand by. Okay? Now, I'm not sure how to pray, and I'm not judging anybody for what they're feeling right now, because these are complicated feelings that have been stirred up for the entire period, not just the fact that he tested positive, during his entire presidency. But after the president tells a terrorist group to stand by for coming after people like me, I'm not sure how to pray. And if you have any suggestions, I'm open to taking them.
We appreciate your insights, Michael.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Given we're so close to the election, the politics of spin is really moving around this. The White House has recently put out some images of Donald Trump. They're trying to show that he's still hard at work. But if you look closely at this image, and we do have a close-up of it, it's a blank piece of paper. It's like he's practicing his signature. Or something like that. Now, the thing about that is, politicians do this sort of thing all the time in terms of imagery and spin, and there's some other photos that show similar things that you can question. But in the context at the moment of where no one's really sure what the medical advice is or isn't, in that context, people see things like that and it just makes them double down on their doubt about whether he really is well, like some are saying, or not.
And looking for clues, because if you feel like there's a vacuum of information, you're desperate to see if you can see something else.
Yep, exactly right. And, this will be a big issue certainly for days, and then we'll have to see. I think everyone hopes that he does recover. If he recovers, then we see how it affects the election and the campaign and all the rest of it, and it'll be fascinating to watch.
Sure will.
Well,